has not happened, at least in my 45 journalism.
And do you think like the Godi media, the term was actually, in fact, that is a political jab.
Media should publish and give themselves powers to take down content. This has never happened in India's media history. 90 journalists, their houses were raided. It's a bit like slow poisoning that is happening, over a period of now 12 years. Actually, you're right. This is another new phenomenon that I have seen in my 43 years of journalism.
Is putting this opposition on trial instead of making the ruling government accountable for the faults and mistakes.
Corporates can buy media, put crores of rupees, but they can't buy credibility. You cannot have fascism of the kind that you had in Germany or in a place like India, because different regions are totally, they think differently. You cannot produce a homogeneous behavior.
Hello, welcome to Update Other View. Today we have with us Mr. VENU, a veteran economic journalist. With over 3 decades of experience leading major newsrooms like The Economic Times and The Hindu, he has been an influential voice decoding India's political economy. So I think we can start from the independent media itself. And when talking about the independent media, big corporates are buying media houses and making them aligned with the government interests. And on the other side, government also tightening the norms in IT rules, and some kind of a new stricter rules are formed day by day and getting introduced by day by day. So what will be the future? How do you think like the independent media can survive in the coming world and in the coming days?
See, this depends upon what you're saying is right. For the last 4-5 years, especially after COVID, when the first information technology rules were amended and very draconian provisions were brought in, whereby for online media compliance burden was increased, with the idea that it should become more costly for smaller online media like ours to survive. Small online media they work on very small budgets. So if you keep putting more compliance burdens on them, their costs increase. So that's one way of basically muzzling them. The other big move that came through the IT rules, which is still happening, subsequently more and more IT amendments are happening in the last 1 year also. But the one that came in after COVID or during COVID 2021, the government through the rules, amendment to the rules, essentially gave itself powers to decide what content is kosher and what is not. Now, it gave itself emergency powers to remove any content that the government found unfit to be either via video or via text to be taken to the larger population. So now this is the first time that the government gave itself so much power to decide what should be published or what should not be published, whether video or text. And many organizations, including the Digital Media Association, traditional newspapers who are also running digital outfits, right?
Yes.
Manorama, Mathrubhumi, Times of India, they all have the digital sections. They also went to court. They went to the Madras High Court, and Madras High Court stayed those rules, especially insofar as they apply to news media. And the courts clearly recognized that media freedoms are sacrosanct under Article 19(1) of the Constitution. Under Article 19(1), we have a fully evolved jurisprudence on media freedoms. Freedom of expression for media, and media is given a special place under Article 19 through Supreme Court judgment which have come over the years. So under that, the High Court in Chennai, High Court in Mumbai, another case went to Mumbai, then one case went to, I think, Kerala High Court, Live Law went to Kerala High Court.
Yes, it is.
So many online publications went to various courts, and they all stayed the government's draconian move to decide what content media should publish, and gave themselves powers to take down content without even informing the publisher. This has never happened in India's media history. We all know it happened with Media One. You know, they just took away the license, and then they went to the Supreme Court, won the case. So media, generally online media and media in general, they've had to struggle a lot in the last 4-5 years, go to courts to get their High Courts, Supreme Court, to get their basic right to freedom of expression reinforced under Article 19. So while the High Courts have stayed the application or the implementation of such draconian rules, the government in Delhi, the INV Ministry and the Information Technology Ministry, they are not relenting. They are continuing to come up with more and more provisions to muzzle the media when the courts are seized of the matter. See, ideally the government should let the High Courts decide, or let the Supreme Court give a final, decision on the legal validity of the IT rules. But the government doesn't seem to be bothered. They are just going on and on. And that one case in the Bombay High Court was also stayed, where the Press Information Bureau in Delhi gave itself powers to decide, what should be published and what should not be published. So imagine a government's information department is telling the media what is appropriate, what is not appropriate. So this is happening at one level, which is really hurting the media, because the media is engaged in various courts of law, legal expenses, small organizations like ours and many others. So we are all in the court. So let's see what comes out. We are hoping that the Supreme Court eventually, when it decides, there was a move that all the various bunch of petitions which were in various High Courts, the Supreme Court would consolidate them and hear them together. That has not happened so far, but we are hoping that the Supreme Court eventually upholds the sanctity of Article 19 1 insofar as the media is concerned, news media is concerned. So, but as I said, this government doesn't seem to be sensitive to even some of the stays granted by various courts, whether it's Chennai High Court or Bombay High Court. So the government continues to put hurdles in the way of independent media or independent reporting. It all flows from the top. It's the political leadership, executive, those in power. It flows from their attitude. So one can only hope that this is not a permanent state. Sometime or the other, there is a change of government, and another government comes, whether it's a coalition or otherwise,
they will follow the same path.
And we are hoping that they won't follow the same path, because I have this hope, because an optimism that a new government, any new formation will not pursue the same path, because what this government has been doing in terms of legislative amendments to muzzle the media has not happened, at least in my 45 years of journalism. There was emergency, Indira Gandhi imposed, but it came for whatever 1.5 to 2 years and it went, things normalized. But here it's a bit like slow poisoning that is happening, over a period of now 12 years. And one can only hope that the there is change in politics in this country. I have great hopes in the youth that they will assert their, their freedom of expression and independence. There is another thing that is happening at a different level, which is media economics is also in decline. Newspapers, online media, media outfits, they are finding it very difficult to survive commercially. The advertising has also declined. So, what is happening is, on the one hand, the government is coming up with various rules, amendments, policies to muzzle independent media or muzzle freedom of expression. On the other hand, the media economics itself is acting as a kind of resource constraint on the media companies. As a result of which, what is happening is the government's advertising now is there is research to show that government advertising some 15 years ago used to be about 10% of the total revenues of a news media company. Now apparently it has gone up to 25%, 30%.
Yes, it is.
So government's control through its advertisements has also increased, and that acts as a coercive instrument to keep the media under control. And the third big thing is that at least I do not know what is the situation in the south of India, but at least in Delhi and some of the bigger cities, North India, and even in Bombay, etc., especially in Hindi speaking states like UP and other places, there is a lot of criminalization of media, criminalization of genuine media activity. So, sedition is being used to suppress, scare the media. Other laws like UAPA, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, the most shocking case of UAPA being slapped on media was the way NewsClick, a small online platform, is doing very well. How they were virtually shut down, and their owner was put in jail, and they put some UAPA and other clauses which were struck down. The FIR itself was struck down by the courts, and more recently the whole case by the police, by whatever the enforcement directorate, have been completely proven to be bogus. They got struck down by the courts.
Almost similar moves are taking place against all news.
And I must tell you, the NewsClick case for me, it is very important because not in my lifetime. I have now completed 43 years of journalism. I have spoken to journalists senior to me who are in their 80s. I am 65. I asked them who have been doing journalism from the 50s, 60s. They have also said they have never seen this magnitude, scale of repression, as in the case of NewsClick, where 90 journalists, their houses were raided. 90 journalists who were directly working for NewsClick or contributing to NewsClick, right, regularly, freelancers plus 90 such journalists were raided by the police. Their devices were seized, phones were seized, computers were seized, all still under seizure in the last say 2-3 years, and the case of course has been thrown out by the court, but in the case of NewsClick, 90 journalists were raided, devices were seized, and by one estimate about 200 plus devices were seized, more than 200 devices. If you add all the computers and phones that were taken from the, this has never happened in India. In fact, I asked Delhi police person, senior Delhi police retired person. He told me at least he has not seen in Delhi police's history that that so many journalists have been were raided and so many devices were seized. So, and all this happened within a period of 1 week. In fact, one of them said that even during the British period, such a huge assault on media would not have happened. So this is the world we are living in. And there's always constant coercion. Constant coercion. If you write a story which the ruling party doesn't like, some ruling party MLA sitting in Assam or sitting in some remote state will file an FIR, and on that police will start show up in your house. So sedition cases, Rajdeep Sardesai, Mridulal Pandey, some of the big editors, when the farmers protest was happening, in Delhi, the longest protest by farmers against the farm laws, right, draconian farm. So that time many editors, sedition cases were filed against many editors. They all went to the Supreme Court to get a stay or to get an order that no coercive action, police action will take place, as in no arrests will happen. So I would say that the last 7-8 years, by and large, journalists, I'm talking about Delhi. What is happening in states is another story, because states there is no protection at all. At least in Delhi, journalists have the wherewithal, resources, well-known lawyers, go to the Supreme Court, go to High Court. I think journalists have just been watching, looking over their back, and just protecting themselves, legally, financially, trying to, So this is a very history will record this period as a very, very unusual, episode.
Time
for
you
media.
were mentioning about the government. So I think in the recent years, we witnessing that Parliament have a comparatively better majority of opposition. Now the Rahul Gandhi is moving throughout the nation, and he is spearheading many protests, and other opposition parties are also doing the same. So do you think this Parliament dynamics enable us, the medias, to function fearlessly, and it will set us a bold and fearless atmosphere? Do you think that kind of Parliament dynamics can help us?
See, the Parliament, the opposition is sympathetic to the media. Opposition has also been protesting. In fact, opposition's main grouse today is that the media has been so badly tamed by the ruling party that their voice is not heard in the media at all. So only some media organizations which give voice to the opposition also get targeted one way or the other. So opposition intentions are very they are good, but they have not been able to strategically put their make Parliament a platform to give a serious pushback to the government on at least on legislation. Because many of these legislations are just getting passed. They are getting sometimes ordinances are passed, sometimes rules are changed. They don't pass a legislation, but they'll change some rules in an existing legislation which doesn't go through Parliament. So the ruling party has been very clever in bringing many of these draconian rules. And as I said, in spite of so many cases in the courts which have stayed the IT amendments of 2021, the government continues to without any let up, they continue to just take down content from individual YouTubers, YouTube channels. Many journalists have started their own YouTube channels. Other content from media, online media. They continue to do that, and there is some data on in the last 2 years. Some hundreds of stories have been taken down. In fact, It's the statistics are very scary. Yeah.
The credibility of Indian mainstream media is facing, I think, by the history also, in the history, the largest decline now, I think, and they are facing such kind of decline in credibility. And do you think like the Godi media, the term was actually, in fact, that is no longer a political jab. It became a manifestation of the corporate and the state, such situation. So do you think like we need to be more cautious about the present situation, or is that makes us more
we meaning the media?
Yes, it is.
See, the Godi media was coined by Ravish Kumar, right?
Yes, sir.
Ravish Kumar is a very well-known journalist, a leading commentator in Hindi. And he was the first to call the media which was constantly just promoting the government's narrative and actually attacking the opposition on a daily basis. You call them Godi media. So, Godi has Godi's lap. So, basically suggesting that this whole media was sitting on the lap of the ruling party.
So that became a kind of manifestation of both this corporate state.
So corporate, yeah, in a sense, you're right. There's a direct link because Ravish Kumar was he did all his bold journalism while he was in NDTV under Prannoy Roy.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
The moment NDTV was taken over by Adani Group, Ravish Kumar left immediately, and it took away all the audiences with him. Ravish Kumar had a huge audience. So within 2 months, 3 months, he had 6, 7, 8 million subscribers, right? So there is this. See, the moment big corporate takes over a media, the media itself declines as a platform to inform the viewers and readers objectively. See, why do you need media? Media is meant to objectively inform the common viewers and readers, so that in a democracy they can make an informed choice, right? Now the moment big corporates come into media, like the Ambanis own half the TV channels today, regional channels, all the ETVs and all owned by Ambani. On this side, the Adani own many media channels. They've taken over news agencies like IANS. They are taking over. I'm told that they are still looking for more media platforms to acquire. So when that happens, then media ceases to be loyal to the reader per se or the viewer per se.
Sure, they should be.
Then the loyalty becomes shifts to the objectives of the corporate house or the government and corporate house and their objectives, their collective objectives, right? Yeah. So that's why you'll find that in a crony capitalist kind of situation, very few media houses are able to call a spade a spade. So the big media which are now increasingly being taken over by corporates, they avoid all uncomfortable issues, and they continue to present a rosy picture of what's going on, whether it's in politics or society or like I am yet to see a serious critique of the SIR, the special intensive revision, the way elections are being gamed in this country on any big mainstream channel owned by corporate houses.
We are witnessing a bizarre trend, like the mainstream media is putting this opposition on trial instead of making the ruling government accountable for the faults and mistakes. And how did this inversion of media systems happen? And is it because of the corporate advertisement, or is it because of the fear?
Actually, you're right. This is another new phenomenon that I have seen in my 43 years of journalism. One grew in the profession thinking that questioning the establishment was real journalism. But in the last 12 years, anti-opposition journalism has got institutionalized. So people are constantly going after the opposition, going after Mamata Banerjee, going after Rahul Gandhi, every day asking Rahul Gandhi 10 questions. Whereas you need to ask Prime Minister Modi 10 questions, right? Because they are running the state. So the questioning is all of the opposition parties. So I mean, this has been going on and really unchecked. And this is actually, we are still quite astonished that something like this continues, and the journalists who are the mainstream media, the big media, which is aligned to the ruling party, when they do it, and when they are asked, why are you doing this? Why aren't you questioning the government? They don't seem to, they are unmoved. It seems to be normalized, attacking the opposition every day, it's totally normalized, The only time that I find that genuine debates are, ironically, the only time that I saw genuine debates happening was after this Ram temple looting, dacoity happened. So suddenly the same media had lot of right wing guys going at each other, and all the sadhus and all asking for resignation of Prime Minister, of Vishwa Hindu Parishad, of RSS. This is the only time I saw the entire right wing lot, who otherwise would be together attacking the the opposition. They were attacking each other. So there was some relief there, actually.
Because of dacoity happened and not shared.
It's a combination of things. One is even within the political, Ram temple was political Hindutva's dream project, which fructified after the Supreme Court gave an judgment and asked the Prime Minister, the government, to form a trust. And Prime Minister said in Parliament, Supreme Court has given us the mandate to form a trust, and we are forming a trust, and we are getting the best people in the trust. So it's like a Ram temple is like Hindutva's Vatican. So now imagine, so it's such a seminal project, such a long-standing project. It's it's 60-70 years been going on, right? And a project of this nature unraveling in 2 years, and 2 years corruption, unethical activities, moral decline. Everything is happening under Ram Lalla's nose. It's a huge setback for BJP, this government, RSS, Vishwa Hindu Parishad, and everybody. And so this is it's a kind of I feel it's a genuine churn, that's now happening within the. They're trying to suppress it. They're trying to say no, we'll get it right. This is just a minor thing. It's not a minor thing. It's a huge thing. So, as I said, it's the first time I'm seeing media Godi media being forced to sort of objectively carry versions within the Hindutva spectrum. Yeah.
Some prominent media houses are calling the descendants as anti-nationals while covering up, deliberately covering up the failures of the government. How do you view the polarization, the communal and political polarization created in the Indian community by this fabricated journalism?
See, it's manufactured, anybody who questions the government is anti-national. So in some sense, a lot of media, a lot of small media, which is questioning the establishment, such as ours also. So we are carrying out our job. This is our dharma, that we have to question the establishment. Now we are not bothered if they are calling us anti-national. If they try to sort of, they've tried to put cases of sedition against journalists. Journalists have carried on, they've gone to court. We still have some faith in the higher judiciary, at least in regard to media. The higher judiciary is still, as I said, there are so many high courts have ruled in favor of, ruled against the amendment to IT rules, draconian IT rules. So I think courts are we still have hope that courts will give a pushback to this trend of labeling media anti-national and putting all kinds of draconian criminalization, putting UAPA cases against, sedition cases against them. So it's a serious problem. You're right, but media is at some level. I think the larger public has also realized that this government has now, in the last, particularly since 2024, see, the 2024 victory was not a clean victory.
Yes, sir.
They didn't have a majority, right? After that, they realized that there is a decline in popularity. So a whole lot of new instruments were unleashed, like SIR, to show that they can still keep winning elections. But I noticed that although they win elections, and immediately after when they start resuming normal governance, they are surrounded by hundreds of scams. Like recently it was Ram Temple scam. Before that, the huge land, real estate scam in Madhya Pradesh. All kinds of things they get surrounded by. And what I am saying is that their attempt to put the anti-national label is not succeeding. There are enough people who are now on the side of the media which is questioning the government. Because I'll tell you why. Because the 2024 result, there was one story, media story, which came in Business Standard, which said that lot of viewers, objective viewers, had moved away from Godi media to all smaller online
platforms
to get genuine news. And Mahua Moitra, the member of Parliament who from Trinamool Congress, she was the first to, after 2024 election, she and many other MPs, they said that the smaller online media did play a big role in creating a broader consensus against the ruling party and their misdeeds. So that's where I have some optimism. I'm saying they can keep labeling smaller media or journalists anti-national, but I think it's not succeeding.
When talking about the media, the corporate takeover of the larger media houses like the Adani's takeover of NDTV, which sometimes which made us feel like is this end of freedom of independent media? Is this marks end of an independent media like that? And do you think so? Or I have another question too. If the digital media, the parallel media platforms can they can surpass or they can overcome this corporate monopoly?
See, there's one way of looking at it. Okay, you take NDTV's case. After Adani took over the channel, you watch their prime time 9 o'clock program.
Yes.
You compare that 9 o'clock to 3-4 other small media platforms like say Ravish Kumar, or there are other well-known journalists who have started their own prime time commentary and news. You will find that their views are 10 times more than NDTV's views. So, what does this tell you? This tells you that they are losing their credibility. So, the corporates can buy media, put crores of rupees, but they can't buy credibility. I can tell you, give you another example. The Ambanis, for the first time in the 90s, they had bought a newspaper called Sunday Observer, and they launched another newspaper called Business and Political Observer. Never succeeded. Because big corporates, they can launch successful products, but they can't launch a successful media product because of credibility.
There is some allegations recent about the Kerala politics and the Kerala media itself.
Yeah.
It says like the Kerala media themselves aligning with the far right politics, and they are propagating news and stories like that, and they are considering this rumors and controversies far more than this facts and hard facts, I mean. Sounds similar to you about like the national, this cooked story politics, like in the national level?
Fake
it's
news,
fabricated fake political stories like this. So does this sound similar to you, like this movement happen, if I say the movement is happening in Kerala?
I think Kerala is different from what is happening in the north. What is happening in the north is a very organized subversion of democratic institutions. I've heard the story about when Pinarayi Vijayan here, they used to call him Mundu Modi.
Yeah,
right?
Mundurtha Modi.
Mundurtha Modi, right?
The Modi wearing Mundu.
So, and similarly they used to say that, even Mamata Banerjee is very authoritarian. This is, you're comparing apples and oranges, because the authoritarian sitting at the center, he controls CBI, he controls ED, he controls income tax, he controls election commissioner, chief election commissioner, he controls CAG, he controls everything. So, he is operating on a scale which is, I don't think the chief ministers are in a position to subvert national democracy, or democratic institutions in a broader sense. They may try to repress, within their context. They may use the police locally. All that is true, but you cannot compare that with what is happening. The subversion of democracy that is happening at the central level.
We were talking about the Kerala politics.
I mean, do you agree with me that the two are
mostly?
Yeah.
We were talking about the Kerala politics. Once again, another question will be there. I would like to ask you, but we have witnessed, like the last assembly election took place a couple of months before, and in that election we witnessed like the propaganda set by some fake profiles and social media campaigns had such a tremendous effect on the voters. And sounds alarming to you, like Kerala, like a state which is far more literally or culturally far more competitive than the other states? Is it sounds alarming to you, such campaigns getting momentum in Kerala?
See, I have a view here, which is, see, if you have social media, you will have such campaigns. See, once I was talking to, long years ago when internet had just come, I was talking to Ashish Nandi, Professor Ashish Nandi, who was a very, very well known, sociologist, political scientist, sociologist, psychoanalyst, So, so I asked him this question: when the internet comes, at that time social media hadn't arrived. I'm talking about the late 90s and I think 2000s, So he said the internet space will be used by all forces. The right will use it, the left will use it, the centrists will use it. So it will be a big tussle, that's part of democracy. So with the advent of social media, WhatsApp, Twitter and whatever, etc., it is true that fake news, fake narratives can be sort of thrown at the at alarming speed. It can reach out to various the larger public, but that is the reality of social media. You have to eventually you have to depend on the good sense of people. Such things may work once or twice, but I don't think they have a permanently they'll survive, because eventually people will realize that this is what is going on, and then there'll be some sobering effect subsequently, and people will start separating the truth from falsehood, grain from chaff. Ultimately, we have to be optimistic that rationality will prevail. It is true that in the interim, a lot of such fake narratives will create scare, will create alarm, and it's happening in the media, it's happening in politics, it's happening in communal politics. We see it every day. But then the only answer to this is that those who are countering this the fake news, they have to get doubly active, and which includes good media, conscientious media will have to get doubly active and counter these the fake narratives, and that's why you have such a robust fact check industry today. What is alt news?
Yeah.
Alt news has emerged as the biggest, most successful, prominent.
Now they are getting chased.
Fact checker, yeah, they are also getting chased, but they are the best fact checkers. They have been alt news has been a thorn in the flesh of fake narrative sellers in the IT cell of the ruling party. They expose them every day. So what you need is thousands of alt news, fact checkers. So that is the solution. So I mean, I feel that that the fact checking media must multiply 1,000 times, and they should create 1,000,000 mutinies.
As a last question, I would like to ask you about how much confident are you about the future of our democracy? Are we walking towards an authoritarian regime like this? How much hopeful are you about the future?
See, I have optimism on one count. I'm greatly optimistic on one count, which is that India is genuinely a multilingual, multicultural, multi-ethnic entity. It's a subcontinent. You cannot have fascism of the kind that you had in Germany or in a place like India, because different regions are totally, they think differently. You cannot produce a homogeneous behavior, in India. You can't. That is our biggest strength. I think that diversity is our biggest strength, which is why do you think the South is behaving differently from the North? The proponents of Hindutva, the Hindutva politics, the Hindutva project, why is it that it is focused largely on 6 Hindi speaking states? Because that's where it is working, All the draconian legislations, love jihad, beef, anti-beef campaign, there are, anti-conversion campaign, telling people what to eat, who to marry, how to live. All this is, in my view, is happening largely in 6 Hindi states.
Yeah, Hindi belt.
Hindi belt, yeah.
We can call it as Hindi belt.
Yeah. Why is it not happening in Tamil Nadu? Why is it not happening in Kerala? I am from Kerala, Tamil Nadu border. I mean, I'm a Tamilian from Palghat. I have visited many southern cities, Thrissur, Chennai. I have cousins there, and I've seen many Hindu religious processions in all these cities. I have never seen people carrying, guns and brandishing, swords and violence. But you go to North India, you go to Haryana, UP, Rajasthan, whenever there is some Hanuman Jayanti or they are all carrying, swords, and they are threateningly carrying processions in front of mosques. They'll do this, that, they'll do all kinds of, intimidation, so I don't see these things happening here. So obviously there is a difference of culture, So therefore I have hope that India is not one homogeneous entity where that thing can be replicated everywhere. It can't be replicated in Manipur, no. It can't be replicated in Tripura. It can't be replicated. Probably it can't even be replicated in Goa. So, I mean, there is an attempt. They are trying to replicate it in Odisha. Not happening. They have come in power there. So Bengal, they are trying. Of course, they have succeeded partly in Bengal. But let's see.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for spending this time with us. We hope you once again talking with you in the same flow, and have a good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you.